All right, yo, and we are live with episode one of the Dunked On Basketball Podcast with myself, Frenzy, DerBroski, and IraqemUp. Boys, how we doing today?
Good
Pretty
evening.
good. Just chilling.
Yeah, I hear that. Everyone doing good, man. I swear, with this whole coronavirus, man, it literally felt like basketball season was never gonna come back or anything, honestly, man.
Yeah, well, when you have Adam Silver, the GOAT, anything's possible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jesus reincarnated.
that guy who's a commissioner for baseball, that guy's fucking up.
yeah, with the Marlins already.
Well, nobody goes to their games anyway, so you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
But yeah, like it literally didn't hit me until like today when I was like really looking at this stuff and I was like, Jesus, man, we're actually gonna kick up tomorrow, man. That's really exciting. But
I can't. Oh, go on.
no, go ahead. What you got?
Oh no. I was just gonna say I'm definitely gonna be watching that Clippers and Lakers game for sure, 100%.
Yeah, hell yeah. But first and foremost, man, with the NBA being back, guys, what do you guys think? What are you guys expecting as as it returns? Like, obviously, in this climate with the election year, everything is like so ridiculously politicized. But do you guys think that with everything, the season's gonna be like super successful? And do you think that the season should have like any kind of asterisks as a result of it, being cut off halfway and no home court? And like, how will this season be?
Well, I think if we have Lou Williams going to strip clubs, then it's not going to end well. But no, in all seriousness, though, I think that honestly, like the season shouldn't have an asterisk. It should, like, this season means even more because like the amount of stress that these players are under with like being away from their families, with like the protests going on and like the significance behind that and everything. I mean, it's a huge deal. So I don't think there should be an asterisk at all. I think there should be more meaning to the season, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna be like really weird seeing how the players play whenever there's like no crowd and no noise going on. Didn't they say that they were gonna maybe pump like artificial noise or something to have like a fake crowd or something going on,
yeah. I
or is
heard there
that
was
not
gonna be
actually
like
happening?
2K noise. I don't know if they're actually going through with that or not, though.
Yeah, they were doing that. They had like screens in the background and like noise like for the home team and away team too. Like if you ever been to a game where like the crowd's obviously going crazy for the home team score, and then like when an away team player scores, it's like real silent. The announcer or the has like some weird voice going along with it, but um yeah, I mean, I like Broski said, I don't really see any reason as to why there should be an asterisk, just because everybody's on an equal playing field, and also on top of that, these players got 3+ months, to rest up and prepare for the season. So, I've been watching shows and stuff like that. So the only way that I'd say there'd be like an asterisk is like, let's say for example, Anthony Davis gets coronavirus like right before the Western Conference Finals, and they face the Clippers, and they don't have AD because he has to quarantine for 14 days. And obviously there'd be an excuse. And then let's just say for whatever reason in the East something goes down where you have like the freaking Sixers going to the finals. Like could happen, but very slim chance it does. So I'd say that's probably the only reason why. But the NBA has done such a good job with testing every day or every other day, I think. And for the past two weekly reports, from what I've seen on Twitter, literally no player has tested for Corona. So have you seen these players like go outside the bubble, whether it's Lou Williams, whether it's Zion, whoever? They go out, they take care of their family matters, and they come back. They have to quarantine for a little bit of time before their test, shows up negative. Then they're allowed to go back and practice and be with the team and stuff. So I just, went on for a little while, but unless someone actually like gets corona or significant injury or whatever, there really should be no asterisk for the season, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I. Oh, go
No,
on.
I was just gonna say I really couldn't agree more with that. I think this is like this season in particular is gonna be so interesting, and it's gonna be really hard to even predict. Just because, like you said, like everyone's just in Orlando in the bubble. Like there really isn't any distractions. There isn't home court. It's neutral. It's gonna be interesting to see who looks sharp coming out the gate and all that stuff. The interesting thing will be like what you said though is if somehow someone does come with corona, what's going to be the result of that? Like if LeBron James has coronavirus, are they really gonna make LeBron quarantine and miss the finals? Like I just That would be absurd.
Yeah,
I couldn't
dude.
fathom. Yeah, I know, but that's just such an insane thought, man.
Yeah, and another thing too is the Lakers fought really hard to get their. I mean, basically, no matter what, they're going to finish as the 1 seed in the West. They have a comfortable lead over everybody else, and then all of their home court advantage is completely neutralized by the fact that, again, they're all playing on a
There is
neutral
no
court.
home court.
Yeah, there is no home court, so it's like, how can you sit here and say that it'll be easier unless maybe they face the Bucks in the finals, and people could say, oh well, the Bucks would have had home court if for Corona and stuff like that. But for the most part, if they faced any other team in the finals, the Lakers would have had a home court against any team in the NBA, and it's completely taken away from them. So I can't really see how anybody can sit here and say that if AD and LeBron win a championship, it's an asterisk next to like one of their rings or something, and it'll be possibly 3 asterisks like next to one of LeBron's rings, or I mean, I'm sorry, 3 of LeBron's 4 rings, because the whole Kyrie Irving and Ray Allen thing. And actually, no, because he had a lockout season also the other year in 2012. So yeah, they can have a case for saying that all of his rings are fake, even though that's clearly not.
Yeah, so
Is
first you have Ray Allen saving his legacy, then Kyrie Irving saving his legacy,
Yeah.
and coronavirus saving his legacy.
Yeah, they're gonna have like that meme. They're gonna have all those memes with like the
Tom
people
Brady rings.
the people saying his the people saving his legacy, and just have like the coronavirus image on there too.
Yeah, it'll be like NBA lockout, Ray Allen, Game 6, Kyrie Irving, Game 7, coronavirus, and just whatever.
All right.
But
Yeah, the
I-
interesting thing too, one more thing to add to that is I wonder how the officiating is gonna play a role now, right? Because it seems like, I mean, just human nature in general, whether it's being like an umpire, referee, like there is something to home court and the crowd and everything like that. So now that literally it just basketball, right? Like I feel like the officiating you would assume would probably be more even as well, right? Just to remove the human elements out of it.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, I still think that LeBron's, going to be treated, like a certain way, but like by the refs and stuff like that. Like, you know, it seems like he's able to get away with like some stuff. Like for example, like that Christmas Day game where he like dunked and he held onto the rim for I swear like 8 to 10
Yeah, I
seconds.
remember that.
It's just like,
Like
dude, like
5.
where's the tech? But also at the same time, like he does go to the basket a lot and he doesn't get a lot of fouls. So it's like
Yeah.
I guess they're like being selective with their officiating just because like they look at him like the dude just like such a tank that he should be able to endure like any type of contact going to the rim. So they're not going to give him calls. But I mean, I don't really feel as if like there's going to be any like homer there will be like any homer like calling like you know if there's no like home court stuff like that like maybe if like Tim Donaghy or something was like, refereeing and stuff. But I mean, it's one thing that's be really cool is like since there's no crowd, are we gonna be able to hear like the players like talking crap and stuff? Like, dude, there's like so many times where like Mello will get a rebound. He's like, get the fuck out of the way. I got it. I
Yeah.
got it. Like, dude, just imagine like how many like bleeps we're gonna be hearing because the players like you can hear all the trash talk like going on. Like, are they gonna like drown that out or like like what's the game plan on that? Are we gonna hear all the trash talk or not?
I think that we need artificial crowd noise, if anything, and I feel like it would just be weird for the players themselves, in general, playing with no crowd, because it's going to be a very high stakes games. I mean, dude, these are playoffs, these are NBA finals, and no crowd. I mean, normally they have an attendance of what, probably upwards of 40,000 people, 35,000 people in the building or something, and now we're at what, 20 something. So yeah, it'll be very awkward in my opinion if they have no artificial noise.
Yeah, it's an absurd thought, and I just wonder if that is the case. Like, who will that benefit more? Because I've thought about that. You know what I mean? Like, in terms of like players getting in their own minds. And I kind of think of LeBron in that way. I think of LeBron as he's a clutch player and stuff, in my opinion, in my view. But it definitely seems at times he can kind of get in his own head, and I just wonder if that will benefit him actually in a way of just literally going out there and balling and like nothing else. Like will some players actually have more of an advantage to no distractions? Like even like J.R. Smith now that he's on the Lakers. instead of going out partying after games and stuff. You know what I mean? Like they're just in the bubble.
J.R. Henny Smith.
Yeah.
The man himself.
But, did you guys want to move on to a
I think we
topic?
should move on to topic number 2.
Yeah, absolutely. With that being said, who do you guys have as the top players in the game today? Whether it's, I don't know if you guys want to name a top 5, top 10, if you guys put any thought into that.
Yeah, I'll do top 5.
I think we
if
should
you guys
do a
wanna
top 5.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think that we should
Now,
start
Are
with
we doing?
DerBroski.
Are we doing in order, or are we doing like general
in
top
order,
5 in order?
Yes.
well, and also, are we counting players like KD who've been out all year?
I
Or
think
are
for
we only
the
counting active
playoffs.
players? All right, for the
Yeah.
playoffs. So no Curry either.
Actually,
No, we're doing
what do you
top
guys want
5
to
in general. In general.
Yeah, I
Oh,
say we go
oh,
general.
KD
Yeah,
stuff?
I say we
Okay,
go
alright, yeah,
general.
let's
We're including KD in this too.
do you guys have your top 5s in mind?
I mean, I have mine ready.
Yeah, I got mine on lock as well.
I think that we should wait for DerBroski to say his first.
Let's kick it.
Yeah, because DerBroski has a reputation of.
All right,
copying
here we go.
people.
Here we go. Ready? So
Okay,
number
yep.
1, we got Kareem. No, I'm kidding. Okay.
Cringe.
So we have LeBron number 1, KD number 2, Kawhi number 3, Steph Curry number 4. We have Giannis number 5.
Wow.
This guy is such a bastard. Like, if he wasn't like on the spot doing his podcast, he would have not had that top 5. Man's
he would have
been
had
literally
J-
You
saying
just put me on the spot, dude. What
he's
do
been
you?
saying James Harden's like better than Curry for
Oh, I
years.
haven't though. Pull
then,
their
like-
seats up. Pull their seats up. Then come
Look
on.
it up, dude. We all know you've like been a huge advocate of saying James Harden's better than Curry for years.
I know. Has he done
And
it?
then
in the
you,
playoffs? Has
and
he
then
done
you,
it in
and
the
then you
playoffs?
flip,
No, he
and then you
hasn't.
flip
He hasn't. He hasn't.
Do you guys want to call out our top 5s first and then see where we all land and talk about that, or you wanna criticize Derb's top 5 first?
Oh,
It's like trolling, bro.
we're apparently criticizing the top 5. Yeah, they're gonna have the same top 5. Good.
All right. Well, mine is not the exact same, but mine obviously LeBron, first. Number 2, I have Kawhi. Number 3, KD. 4, Curry. 5, Giannis.
Wait, who did you have at number 2?
Kawhi.
Okay. Okay, I'll do mine next, I guess, unless you want to do yours next, you said.
Just so everybody knows as well, this guy has had KD number 2 for probably like his entire life, so he's also flip flopping. But anyway, let's go on to the next one.
Well, dude, I mean, Kawhi's just proven to be a better player right now.
I mean, KD's injured, but anyway, let's keep going here.
What you got,
Okay,
Frenzy?
yeah. I'll do LeBron first and KD second, Kawhi third, and Curry fourth. Even though I really go back and forth between Kawhi and Curry. I really think that people kind of undersell Curry just because he played alongside KD. Let's not forget what he was doing just before KD came into town. The guy had up one of the greatest seasons of all time, and if maybe he continues that pace, the guy will, I don't know, probably even go down as top 10 all time because he already has 3 rings and the guy can most certainly get another one. But yeah, the 5th person is Giannis on my list as well. I'm not really big on Giannis, but yeah, I have him at number 5.
That guy.
All right,
You guys will find out, but he is a Giannis hater.
This is the definitive top 5 right here. We got, of course, LeBron 1 still, Kawhi number 2, Giannis 3, Curry 4, Harden 5. KD does not make the list from the torn Achilles. I don't think KD comes back. He comes back obviously, but he's not. No one's come back from a torn Achilles.
Oh, you have Harden higher than KD?
Yes, right now with KD being out from a torn Achilles, I don't think KD comes back from that.
Oh no, I meant Anthony Davis.
I have 86.
I also have 86.
Yeah.
Fair. That's
I have 86 as well.
What about Dominique Wilkins? Like, he came back from a torn ACL.
Wait.
I was about to say that, yeah.
Or not a torn Achilles, sorry.
And also, it's like KD's game isn't, solely reliant on being like this athletic freak. It's more so finesse, shooting, stuff like that. Like, Sure, he might lose a little bit of athleticism, but he also isn't rushing back his recovery either. Like he's not even playing this, season. He's gonna be coming back a year and a half after the Achilles injury.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, he's handled that well because I remember there was definitely some talk about whether or not he'd even come back with the season being delayed. Now, I definitely think it's obviously a smart move that he doesn't. And the thing that I think could benefit him is the fact that he's going to be with Kyrie in that way. Like he's not. I don't know. It's not like the old OKC days, but obviously he's not with the Warriors anymore. But I just don't think he'll come back and be the level of player. It seems like you guys just assume he's going to come back and be like that 27-point game scorer again. Like I don't think that's gonna happen.
Honestly, like I actually am like agreeing with you in a sense. Like I actually didn't really even like really consider that like in terms of like him coming back because I don't think he's gonna be now that you said it. Like I really don't think he's gonna be like full KD. So I might even honestly have to like readjust my list. That's why I said like, are we doing it players that are like currently playing? But
Yeah,
no,
I'm saying it under the assumption that if he was before injury playing right now.
yeah,
my
I
opinion.
do like if you. I don't know. I mean, it's real questionable. Like, is he gonna come back? Fully healthy and stuff like that. I think that he'll be fine just because his game isn't relying on him like dunking the ball nonstop and like driving to the rim and stuff like that. Like he's more of a like shooter,
Yeah, and
mid-range,
I think for
threes,
that
stuff like that.
reason, yeah, I mean, KD is like one of the best shooters like ever. He's incredible, especially being 7 foot, like basically 7 foot. Like he can just he's unguardable. You know what I mean? So I think he'll benefit in that way. But I just don't think working under the assumption of that injury, he's just not going to come back and be that player. You know what I mean? In my opinion.
That's honestly a fair take for sure.
But it's definitely all speculating, in terms of what he'll be when he comes back. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. You know, like you said, like how KD, like he's like pretty much 7 foot. Like, KD has a rep for being like a huge snake. But like, dude, like that is like honestly one of the most snake things he like has done is like list himself as like 6'10", but the dude's actually like 7 foot or like 7'1".
Yeah.
Like
No,
I've seen
I think
pictures
he's
of him
listed for
like,
6'9".
oh
Right?
really? Yeah, even worse. Like, dude, like I've seen pictures of him standing next to like someone like Kendrick Perkins who's 7 foot, and you like clearly see he's taller than him. So it's like, Katie, like why are you lying about your height? Like most players, like they'll lie about being taller if anything. But like that, or sorry, they'll be like 6'2", and they'll say they're 6'5". But then KD's like saying he's 6'9", but he's actually 7'1". It's like,
Yeah, he's
what are you
he's like the
doing?
inverse of like. Actually, never mind. I'm not gonna say that.
I actually no, never mind. He is listed at 6'10", but uh, yeah, I mean, just because he's so tall, man. I mean, think about Dirk. Like Dirk was 7 foot. KD is the same height as Dirk, and both of them were great shooters. And KD is just simply far more athletic and a little bit
Yeah.
better on the defensive end. But I do think that leadership-wise, Dirk is 5 times the leader that KD ever could be because of how
Well,
much of a snake the guy is.
yeah,
So
KD isn't a leader. I mean, he's a team hopper, so it's like you can't
yeah,
really be a leader if like you
hey,
literally aren't
Wait,
even like.
doesn't
you
wait. Who's played for more teams, LeBron or KD?
Yeah.
guess who? Wait,
Who's
isn't
won
it like the
ring? Who's
same
won rings
point?
in both
Good,
It's
locations?
the
good,
same amount. It's the same amount. What are you talking about? Like they play for the same amount of teams.
Okay, well, how many times has LeBron flopped to another team?
So like
Hasn't he won rings like everywhere he's been? He's only been in LA for like a year now.
No, your
So,
point. Your point was KD's not a leader because he's going
well,
from team to team. That's what you just
also
said. I agree with you. Like, I don't think Katie's a leader, but like, you can't just be like, yeah, Katie's not a leader
well,
because he's switching
I
team.
mean, like on his teams though, he wasn't the leader on any of his teams though. Like it's not like he's going to like another team and becoming a leader. Like Curry was the leader in Golden State. Westbrook was the leader in OKC. Like that guy's beloved by the entire fan base. Like so, it's. I mean,
you know who else is a team hopper? That's arguably the captain of his team, Kyrie Irving. The guy's also a snake too, and a team hopper.
See, like KD's like he's like some lesser snake, and then Kyrie is like the king cobra of the team. Like he just has like.
All right, well, here's a good question then. Who do you guys think that Nets is gonna work out like next year when KD, Kyrie, they're back? Do you guys see
No,
them?
Oh, they'll be dangerous, but I
they'll
don't
be
think they're making.
they'll be a 54 win team next year.
They'll be like a watered down OKC team, like compared to
Yeah.
those OKC teams, just because like I used to really like Kyrie Irving, and I still like watching him play. But like, dude, just the way he acts and the things he says, like this dude thinks he's like this super woke like individual, like saying all these weird things, and then like
Earth is
just saying
flat.
yeah, like Earth is flat, and then like earlier this season, I don't know if you guys know about this, but like the dude refused to like so like when they had like their team photo like right before the season starts, like the head coach or the photographer, whoever, told Kyrie Irving to take his hat off, and the guy refused to take his hat off. He's like, "That's what Photoshop is for." The guy's just being a bastard, and then like the
yeah,
fact that
yeah,
he like I can get it somewhat like why he didn't want to play with LeBron, but it's like okay, you demand a trade and then you go to Boston, you literally lie about wanting to play there for the rest of your career. You slither out of Boston to go to New York, and you're in a perfectly good environment, and then he was toxic to them like the year before they went to Eastern Conference Finals, and then the next year they were incredibly dysfunctional. He was a really bad leader that year, so like I know him and Katie are best friends, but I just I don't see like it working out. And especially if Katie comes back to a lesser version of himself too. Like, I don't see them winning a
Yeah.
championship. Like
And
sure they can make the playoffs and win some series just because they have so much talent, but in terms of like playing team basketball, a good system, I don't see it being like really successful. People just see Katie and Kyrie, and it's like, all right, like they're gonna, be a lock for the finals when, we saw for years that wasn't the case with OKC with all the talent they had.
so I wanted to add on to that. That yeah, I don't think that they're going to win a championship. Like at least unless all the dominoes fall into place because of how injury prone both of those egos are. Like both of them have enormous ego issues, but they're both just as injury prone. Like as each other. Like they have missed significant time in multiple seasons, and I mean, think about how many injuries both of them have suffered, and these are like really bad injuries too. Like the one that Kyrie Irving suffered in the finals, and then KD just with that Achilles injury. These guys are getting banged up every single season that they play. It seems like at this point. So
Well,
I just it's just really a matter of are their egos going to be set to the side enough for them to be able to
yeah.
play team basketball and mesh together well, and are they going to not get injured? That's
You see, the thing is too that people aren't saying about that team is they have a lot of very good role players. Like Karis LeVert's a very good role player. I mean Spencer Dinwiddie, like he's a meme, but like he's actually a very good role player. Like if he has to be like the third option on a team or whatever. So I mean, you have some good like other options on that team. Like I mean, you have I forget what his name is, but the dude with the fro, like this dude, like that guy's very good, very good. Big man. So a ton of good role players on that team. Like Joe Harris won the 3-point contest, so they have like a ton of good role players. So I think like 54, 55 wins probably next year, and I think they probably lose in the Eastern Conference Finals though, because I don't think the chemistry is going to be there. But that's just my opinion though.
yeah. I think that's fair. I think they'll win a bunch of games just because of the talent levels there. But I think the issue too is more so the leadership. To what Frenzy said about the injuries. I mean, Kyrie's only played over 70 games twice in his entire career throughout a season. Like he's very injury prone. I mean, we've seen KD go down a lot now, and I think it'll be best for KD's interest for them to kind of ramp him up. You know what I mean? Obviously, he's not going to come out the gates playing 40 plus minutes, you would assume. You know what I mean? I mean, I think that'd be the worst thing they could do to him. But it's going to be the leadership level. I mean, it was reported that during that 2016 playoff run that Kyrie didn't like talk to teammates for like, what was it, since like round 2. Like he just didn't talk to anyone. I mean, every guy's different, but I mean, who's really going to be the leader of that team? Because both KD and Kyrie in New York, nonetheless, like the biggest media place in the world, like I just can't imagine that going well at all.
Yeah.
All right, I think we can probably move
uh,
on to the next topic though.
yeah, and I think that VSAT should start off with his take on the next one since he hasn't
Right.
gotten a chance to start.
What's that? What signifies an NBA superstar?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do that one, sure.
Yeah, I think honestly, what with an NBA superstar, I think it's about a lot of things. I think it's kind of like obviously you have to be a great player, but I think there's also kind of like a marketing ability to that and like a swag that exists more in particular with the NBA than I think any other sport. You know, with football, the players have helmets on, and I feel like a lot of times there isn't like face recognition with the players. And then baseball, I mean, you look at like Mike Trout, who is, you know, maybe arguably the greatest player to play baseball. You know, that's obviously a whole nother discussion. But you know, people don't really even know who he is. They can't even make the playoffs. But with basketball, it's like obviously you gotta have. I mean, all these guys are ridiculously skilled. You gotta be able to stuff the stat sheet, lead your team to wins. But I think there's just also like a marketing ability to that of like, you know, LeBron and even Kawhi, like who doesn't really say a lot, but I mean he's still like the claw. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, he's got like a thing to him. You know, same with Giannis and Curry and I think that's what really kind of defines NBA superstars is just kind of the swag that they have, you know?
Yeah, I really agree with that, especially the whole football point that you made, how these players are wearing helmets and stuff in football, so it's not easy to like identify what player that is. Unlike on basketball, where you can see LeBron going up and down the court every single play. Like you can see where Curry is every single play, and you know whenever the ball is in his hands, outside of just saying, "Oh, there's his jersey number," so I know that it's that guy. But yeah, I think that with being a superstar, yeah, I definitely think that the marquee value is something really consider with it. But on top of that, I'd like to see these superstars make it into the playoffs, regardless of if they have a bad team or not. Like, they've got to be able to make it into the playoffs and show, like, Kobe in those years whenever he had Smush Parker and Kwame Brown, Luke Walton, and stuff like on his team. And he wasn't even being coached by Phil Jackson. I don't even remember who their coach was at the time. That's how bad that team was. And yet he's still able to carry his team to like a seventh seed in the playoffs. Like those are the types of players that I see as being superstars. Somebody that actually has enough heart to carry a trash team to the playoffs, no matter how much adversity they have to face. They're still getting stuff done, whether it's without a great team or with a bad one. But yeah, I don't know if add on to that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of agree and disagree with both of your points because it's like I could look at someone like Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis, he's a superstar. Like I feel like all of us in the call would agree that he's a superstar, but the guy hasn't had any postseason success, and I'm pretty sure he's only made the
Made it to the
postseason
playoffs twice.
twice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's
made it
only
to the postseason twice. And
out of
yes,
like
what do you
seven
mean? He
different
made it out of the
seasons.
first
Seven
season.
seasons.
Right, he's made it out of the first
He's
first
made it out
round
of the first
before.
round once. That's all
Yeah,
he's done.
and it
He's
was
had
whenever
no
they weren't even favored either.
he's had no postseason success, but two seasons out of what 7 or 8 years in the league. I don't know exactly how many off the top of my head. And
Got to
then
go against Golden
also,
State. Nobody's had success against Golden State whenever they're fully healthy.
well, I'm not saying that he has to be successful every year, but your point was that you want to see superstars continuously carry their team to the playoffs, and the guy's only done it on 2 occasions. So he is a superstar, but I feel like it's not like black and white criteria that these guys need to make. Like I feel it's like they have to be a polarizing player. They, like VSAT said, they have to have this type of like swag and like the way they approach the game. They have their own like signature, moves. They have like their own different things that make them like really unique players. But, also at the same time, it's like, Zion Williamson, I don't classify him as a superstar, but outside of LeBron, he has been getting the most coverage out of any other player in the NBA this year. So it's like, you know, it's a really weird criteria to meet, but I feel like you have to like check those type of boxes as well as, you know, have those signature moments, whether it's in a regular season, like for example, Curry making that like 35-foot 3-pointer against the Thunder. Like that's a huge like moment, or their really unique like approach towards the game, or they have these clutch moments. They're able to carry a franchise. Like I agree like with what you guys are saying, but I don't like fully agree at the same time. Like it's just like I don't know exactly how to describe like what is a superstar. It's just like you see them play, they do these crazy things, and they're a superstar. Like Bradley Beal, dude's averaging 30 a game this year. Is he a superstar? It's stats, it's like the way they approach the game, it's like their own, like the way they convey themselves, like Zion, whatever. I just really don't know how to describe really what a superstar is, but
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think the one question I would ask real quick to follow up with that is, would you consider Carmelo Anthony a superstar? Because he's, I mean, to the same degree, hasn't really had much playoff success throughout his career.
Yeah, I would have considered him a superstar at some point in his career, maybe in like 2008, 2009, that area, but it was kind of short-lived.
yeah, I mean, and he did go to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. He just had basically that one run. Outside of that, I mean, granted, he was stranded, with my New York Knicks, which is sad, but I hear that.
Broski, did you want to add on to that?
No, I mean, I just kind of agree with all the points that you guys brought up. I mean, you guys summarized it pretty well. I think that, like, I don't know, to really be a superstar, I mean, I think you have to, you have to have that heart and that willpower to, like, have your team, will your team to win. I mean, there's only a couple guys that I feel like can really do that in the NBA, and you have to be a leader as well. You can't be like, I mean, you don't have to be a leader. Like, it's not like required, but it's like a strong characteristic of a superstar in this league. But,
yeah. So since you contributed the least to this one, I think that we should tag on an extra question on this. So you can go first too. Do you think that Jokic is a superstar right now?
Yes.
Well, I think he's had like 16 turnovers in like the 3 scrimmages that they've had. So I mean, I don't really know about that, but I mean,
wait,
I think if he loses some weight and he which he has, and if he's able to become more mobile on the floor and pick up his defense, I think he potentially could become a superstar in the future. But
so
we'll
losing
see.
weight qualifies someone as a superstar?
No, I think it's going to help him move better on defense, and his biggest critique right now is that his defense is not good.
Dude, I feel like him losing weight actually might hurt him. Like,
Hey, he
just
plays a
being able
center
to
position.
post people up. And like, dude, we saw like LeBron. Remember when LeBron went on that paleo diet?
Yo, yeah, remember
Lost a
that?
bunch of weight. Like, dude, he wasn't as good when he was lighter. Like, he wasn't able to like just go down a lane and like truck people and just dunk on them.
Well, I mean, the difference is that Jokic was just fat. So I mean, there's a difference.
Here we go. Here's the Jokic hate. That's what I was talking about.
Oh no.
I mean, to Jokic's credit, he's only 24, man. You know what I mean? He's played 5 years, and he averages like 20, 10, and like 6, man. I mean,
well, dude, in the playoffs last year, the guy averaged like he bumped up all of his averages substantially. He went up to 25, 13, and 9.
I'll say he's like he's a
playoffs.
fringe superstar, but I think he's got some more proving to do before he really can attain that title.
On 40% from downtown as a center, dude.
Dude,
and let me say that again. 9 assists a game in the playoffs as a center.
Well, as you can see, stats are misleading in the chat.
Stats are misleading.
His 9
his team
assists
is
as a
winning.
center.
His team was consistently number 2 in the West this year, and they were number 2 in the West last year.
He has a great supporting cast, so I don't really. I mean, like that's also contributes a lot to that. You have Bull, who's tearing it.
What? Oh, 40 minutes, but Broski made himself back.
Oh, guess what? I'm trolling this question right now.
No, you're not. Shit take.
Yeah. We was trying to claim that Jamal Murray was like a fringe superstar or something.
I didn't say that. That's actually not true.
Dude, Jamal Murray on his team, so much help.
You said that Jamal Murray would be an all-star if he was the only dude on Denver. Like,
he would be.
Okay, so Broski, I'm gonna.
Chat. Here, chat. Let me ask.
Here we go. Yes.
Chat. Do you guys think that Jamal Murray, if he was the number 1 option on that team, that he would be an all-star?
Okay. So let me run down a couple duos in the West for you guys, like real fast. So we have LeBron and AD. We have Kawhi and Paul George. We have Westbrook and Harden. We have Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. We have all of these super star stud players back to back, and then we have Jokic, who's a really good name, and then Jamal Murray? No, what? It's like a deflating. Like it just went from like a really high level player to all of a sudden we're like, is this guy gonna ever even make an All-Star game? Like,
in the
what
chat
just
is just
happened?
DerBroski is literally getting a swirly in the chat.
Oh no, we literally just had two people say Murray is good and he could be one, but we keep
let's see.
false
DerBroski-
narratives.
Broski, has he ever even made an All-Star game? No, he hasn't.
It's like
And-
his third year in the league and he's a second option,
it's his
dude. What do
fourth
you
year.
mean?
Dude, just to
How
put
many
things in
people on that
perspective-
team have made All-Star games
Paul Millsap, Nikola Jokic,
besides
um,
Jokic, because he's obviously the
Paul Millsap.
Paul
Yeah,
Millsap,
like
yes.
5 years ago.
And that's it. Yeah, Paul
the
Millsap,
East.
and yeah, he's super washed now too. Like, what do you mean?
Wait, and also to counter that point about Jamal Murray being a lock for All-Star game, your favorite player, Devin Booker, averaging like 26 a game this year, literally had to get a substitution All-Star.
Yeah.
and he averages like 8 points less. Come on, dude. Like with a guy that's playing center position on his team, averaging 10 assists a game. What the hell is that? Like, what the hell is that?
Dude, right now would just be the perfect moment to like have some dunked on alert to play on the
It's like alert, shit take.
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right. I guess we can move on from that one since we kind of made our point. Which one do you want to cover next, VSET?
What do you guys want to go to? It's up to you, whatever you want. I'm kind of just going off the list that we got in Discord right now.
Yeah, whoever wants to start talking first on this next one, go ahead and pick whichever topic you want.
All right,
So,
I'll go ahead. Let's
okay.
go in order. Do you guys think that James Harden and Russell Westbrook will ever win a ring?
No. Not together, no. I think that they will
individually?
eventually... What? I'm sorry?
Individually?
Yeah, possibly if they decide to, like, take a back seat as maybe like a third best player on the league or on their team or something, or maybe try to fill like a Carmelo Anthony or Dwight Howard bench position role, trying to be like a six-man type player or whatever. Then yeah, but I just don't dig their play style. I don't think that they play winning basketball. Russell Westbrook has been fighting with Adams for rebounds on his team and stuff back in OKC, just like pad up his rebounds. He's like passing up on game-winning shots, trying to rack up assists so that he could get more triple doubles. James Harden's too obsessed with having these like phantom foul calls on him behind the arc, behind the 3-point line all the time. The dude just, I just have never seen James Harden actually show up big in a single elimination game outside of maybe last year. Other than that, the guy always comes up smaller than nobody ever talks about it too. He always comes up so small. It's like I've got to look at the court with a magnifying glass or something to try to find this guy because he's just like so small out there. He's never doing anything. He's putting up league worst numbers in elimination games, having 12 turnovers in a game, fouling out with like what 10 points on ridiculous field goal percentage, like 16% field goal percentage. Just the guy's honestly not built for the playoffs. He's built for the regular season. So is Russell Westbrook. That's my opinion.
I completely agree with everything Frenzy said. I think both those guys, maybe they'll have a chance, kind of like Frenzy said, whether it's like a Melo role or Dwight Howard or like T-Mac back when he was with the I think Spurs in that 2013. They ended up losing to the Heat, but
he was a bench guy though.
yeah, he didn't play at all. Yeah, I mean I think that's what it's gonna be. I don't think those two will win it together, especially with D'Antoni, who I don't got hate for D'Antoni. I think he kind of did. He was the creator of the small ball, you know what I mean? And and then the Warriors really just took it to another level. But yeah, between those guys, I don't see that happening. The only way they win is if they're like a third, fourth bench option late in their careers.
Yeah, and I agree with that point. I think that like D'Antoni's system, I mean, like it's got like they've been so close. Like every D'Antoni team has been so close to the finals, but like there's just no defense in that system whatsoever. And like the fact that they have no big man at all now, and they're trying to play total small ball, it's just not going to work against the Lakers. Like if they play the Lakers in the playoffs, like the Lakers are just going to steamroll them. Just because I mean, like who's their big man now? Like PJ Tucker, and he's supposed to guard Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard. Like I mean, I don't know like how that's gonna work. LeBron's just gonna feed lobs the whole time. And like with D'Antoni's system, I mean, it's just predicated on no defense whatsoever. So I mean, like, like you can shoot all the threes you want. It's not going to win you a championship, though. Especially if you play like the Bucks in the finals or something. We're like a very good defensive team and offensive team. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, they can win a bunch of games in the regular season, but when it comes to the playoffs and it's like half court offense, half court defense, like they're just not. They're not gonna do anything, I don't think. But
Yeah, I'm not gonna completely close the door on the thought of Harden or Russ winning a ring, just because we all saw in 2018, the Rockets forced games or went to Game 7 with the Warriors, and a lot of people say that if CP3 didn't get hurt, they most likely win that series, and then they face literally LeBron and trash cans in the finals with those Cavs. So I feel like they would have won the title that year, but I just feel as if the West is getting more stacked. You had the Clippers, the Lakers, the Warriors re-emerging, and then other future talent coming up, and then even the East is getting better. So, Harden, I feel like he definitely fucked up his opportunity in 2018 to win. And like I said, like I think they would have won if they had CP3, but at the same time, you know, going 0 for 27 in game 7 and then Harden having an 0 for 18 streak from 3 with I forget what games
Yeah.
it was in, but it's like, dude, you completely, pissed that opportunity away. And like Kobe said himself like years ago, he said that James Harden's play style isn't going to win a championship. Like when Kobe was putting up 35 a game in the mid 2000s, he knew that shit wasn't going to win a championship. He was just doing that just because his teammates were so trash. You know, when you had good teammates, Kobe's average went down to around like 27, 28 points per game. And he played the right way, and that's how they're able to win championships. So a combination of, James Harden's play style, ball hogging, shooting mad threes, and especially exploiting fouls in a regular season when games are officiated a little bit different in the playoffs. I don't see it happening either. And then Russell Westbrook, like I don't think he's gonna win a championship as the main dude either. We saw what happened to this guy after KD left. He's getting outplayed by Donovan Mitchell in first round games. He gets absolutely destroyed last year by Damian Lillard, and the year before, the year before the Donovan Mitchell series, I think it was, they lost to the Rockets, which wasn't really his fault, but the fact that Russell Westbrook has yet to lead the first round without Kevin Durant just goes to show, like, I don't think it's gonna happen. But like you guys all said, if they're gonna be like some veteran role player later on in their careers, then sure. But in their prime as the main dude or second dude, I don't see it happening just because it's not how championship basketball is played.
Yeah, and another thing too is a lot of people will kind of remember that 2018 series and how they completely squandered their opportunity to win. But people might be looking back, maybe even people in the chat right now, and they might look back and see Game 7 stats. James Harden actually didn't play that bad, but in actuality, the guy scored, what, 8 points in the last minute of the game whenever they were already down by 20 or 15 or something like that, and the game was completely out of reach, and Golden State just simply let him lay up the ball and get free points. And another thing too that's completely overlooked about that series, not the most pivotal player on the Warriors roster or anything. He was still like the sixth man on it though. Was Andre Iguodala, and he didn't play a single game in that series. I'm pretty sure, and he's a pretty big anchor on their defense. Like outside of Draymond Green, like he was one of their biggest like defenders, and he was not in that series whatsoever. So maybe the series could have been different with Andre Iguodala playing the entire time. But yeah,
And I mean, I don't agree with it, but the guy is a Finals MVP, so the dude was a crucial part of the Warriors dynasty and that team. So the fact of him not being there for any games that series, and I don't know for 100% fact if he did miss the whole series or not, but if he
yeah,
did, yeah, if he did, like, I wouldn't say it fully negates CP3 not playing game 6 and 7, but who's to say that they don't win one of those first 5 games in the series with Iggy playing? So
Oh no, it looks like he missed the last 4 games, but he did play
yeah,
the first 3. And
yeah, I didn't think that
in
he
the
did
first
miss
3,
the
they were
series.
up 2-1 in the series.
Oh,
First.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I think there's no denying the fact that Andre Iguodala was a very crucial role player. Like the guy was a very, very good role player, but like the dude took it up to another level and he literally won Finals MVP. Like, I think Curry should have won that Finals MVP that year. Personally, it's a lot of people would disagree. It's whatever, but once he got inserted that Finals, the starting lineup in that Finals, like things changed. So, but yeah, the dude's a beast, and
Yeah,
he,
so I definitely agree with all those points, but I think we should get on to our next topic. Should LeBron James shave his head? Well,
Yeah, I don't know how that would actually look, but in all seriousness, which topic did you guys want to do next? Did you guys want to do the
so
Kawhi one?
no, let's do most likely to win another chip, Steph or KD. I think that's actually more interesting,
yeah, this
Okay.
personally.
definitely gonna have some different opinions.
Who wants to go first on this one? I mean, I have my opinion already.
I'm gonna go. I'll go. I'll go
Yeah,
Steph
Okay,
Curry right now, just because I think that guy. Like you could have Golden State just pull off the heist of the century and trade for Giannis or something like
Yup.
that.
Yup.
And then they have room. If they get rid of Wiggins, they're kind of locked up with cap space right now. But with Clay coming back healthy, they're gonna have a top 3 pick this year as well, and this is a loaded draft class. I think they could easily keep become or not become but remain a contender for a number of years just because of, like I said, just they're only in their early 30s. I think they'll be contenders to like 35 or so, if they get like a decent player in the draft here, and just reload and get some other weapons. But I think Steph has the better chance because I think KD, just like we said, just whenever the guy is like expected to be the leader on a team, he just can't deliver. And then Kyrie's, we talked about how kind of poisonous that relationship's gonna be. So, but yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I have to agree with Broski. I strongly think that Steph Curry is going to be the next to win a championship, if either of them do win another championship, just because that Golden State system has been proven. We know that it can work, and we know that they've won a championship, even though it did kind of deserve an asterisk. Actually, it definitely did deserve an asterisk next to it whenever the Golden State Warriors won in 2015, and they were just right there in 2016, just about to win another championship. And yeah, I strongly believe in the Warriors and that system. I'm not really a big fan of that team, but that was mostly just because KD was on it, and I definitely didn't like that move that KD pulled. But yeah, Warrior system proven to work. Steph Curry, one of the best leaders in NBA right now, and I definitely think that they are maybe one more piece away. I don't think that they require Giannis, but I definitely do think that they need another guy that's like another Klay Thompson level type player, whether it's at the center position or power forward, something like that, to try to make that team work and kind of fill out that roster. But yeah, I don't think that Nets are going to win a championship. As I said earlier, too many injuries on that team, too many egos, too many snakes, just everything on that team looks good on paper. But then if you kind of look at it from, you take a step back and you kind of look at it, it doesn't tell me that they're going to win a championship, in my opinion. But yeah, you guys can go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think we're all gonna. It seems like we're all probably gonna agree with this point. But I think the way they're currently constituted, like I don't believe KD will come back to at least 100% that he was, and then mix that with Kyrie in New York. I don't see that being a winning formula, and I do think the Warriors are just one piece away. Steph is the greatest shooter of all time, and I think he's proven to be a pretty great leader. I don't think people realize, like, for him to put his like ego aside in any way and just kind of openly embrace KD, I think that's kind of a big thing. I mean, I think you see that with most super teams that join. They kind of have that issue, right? Whether it's like Miami at first, like it's kind of like a weird. Now, granted, their play styles play together, I think, better. That was Steph and KD, but like Wade and LeBron kind of joining up and not really knowing who's Batman, as the great Skip Bayless would say. But Yeah, I think that's kind of an easy one. I think Steph Curry, undoubtedly. If either of them do have the chance to win one, it'll definitely be Steph, and it's definitely going off the assumption too. Potentially, it looks like Giannis potentially to the Warriors, which would just end things if that ever happened.
That would be fucking horrible.
That would be that would be really bad. Really, it'd be the same thing that we just experienced of just basically it felt like the Warriors just steamrolling everybody.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with all you guys, and I'm gonna take it a step further. I'm saying that Curry will win one more. I told Frenzy this before. I don't know if he really remembers, but I sort of look at the Warriors where they could potentially be like the Spurs, where the Spurs were able to adapt like throughout the years, and they had those core group of guys like Manu, Tony, Tim Duncan, and the Warriors, they are getting older, but they have a system that works perfectly. They still have their three core guys, and they also have a really high draft pick this year. They also have Andrew Wiggins too. So I don't see any reason as to why they can't win one. I think that they will win one, especially if LeBron starts declining. So, and then you have the Clippers, which I think they could beat the Clippers. Like, I don't see reason why they couldn't beat the Clippers. So, I'm going to say Steph does win one more. I'm not going to say he's going to win two more, but I am going to say he's going to win one more. And I'm really hoping that he wins that elusive
Yeah,
finals
there you
MVP.
go. I was gonna say, is he finally gonna win the Finals MVP?
Like, I'm a huge Curry fan, and I'm not gonna lie, like it is a big stain on his legacy, like for not having that Finals MVP. And like I said, he should have won in 2015 in my opinion, but he didn't win it, and that's what it is. And Steph, as much as I love him, he does have a reputation for not showing up in big moments in the finals. So
Well, then I think this one might be a little bit more kind of piggybacking off that. Who do you guys think will go down as the better player? I think that's probably a closer debate.
yeah,
I think Curry goes down as the greater player, but because like he changed the game of basketball with his play style. But I mean, I know there's people in this call disagree with me that he's going to be greater, but like, I mean, guy has two MVPs to Katie's one. He was the leader on that, the true leader on that team for I mean, on two both rings with KD. I mean, KD led the team in stats. I mean, they only won because they had just had overwhelming firepower. I mean, like we all know that. Like that was the greatest team of all time, in my opinion, at least. But I mean, if you look at Steph, he's got three rings. KD has two, and we all just said that KD's not winning another ring. I mean, Curry changed the game of basketball, has more MVPs. He doesn't have the finals MVPs, which is like the only stain on his resume, but just the overall impact that he's had on basketball, I think definitely, makes him greater than KD in my opinion. I think Curry could potentially finish top 10, like fringe top 10, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think too what hurts KD is that I think a lot of people agree that his titles are almost not real titles. I don't know if you guys would all agree with that premise, but just I mean, he joined the 73 win team that was one game away from winning the finals. Not taking anything away from KD and his greatness because he was the best player on those teams still. But I mean, I think that really doesn't really add anything as much as what Steph Curry has on his resume already.
then wouldn't that make Steph's titles not legit either?
I don't know. I think to some degree, but I think Steph was the way I think it's perceived, at least as for people, is that like they started the system, kind of like you're talking about. It was Steph, it was
Yeah.
Dre, it was Clay. Like they are the system, and KD kind of climbed onto that. If anything, to what I was saying, the Steph's leadership ability, I think it shows a lot about him that he can kind of just let KD come in and rock. I mean, Steph was the year before KD came. I mean, Steph was the unanimous MVP, first time ever. Steph was balling. He was doing what he did at Davidson just in the NBA, and just no one thought it was possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh, go.
go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
No, you can go first.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, it's weird because, like, Frenzy and I will talk a lot, and it's like if you're at the park and you had to pick players, like, I'm sure all of us, I mean, I don't know, but I would pick KD over
Yeah,
Steph just in
absolutely.
terms of like a street ball player. But it all depends. Like, for right now, obviously Curry has a better legacy. 73-9 season, two MVPs, unanimous MVP. like 5 straight finals appearances, 3 rings, change the game of basketball, like moving forward, like for sure has a better legacy, good leader, not known as a snake. Like I don't think Steph has the best legacy, but he definitely has a better legacy than KD. But like at the same time, KD is arguably behind Michael Jordan, maybe even the greatest scorer ever, like the best scoring talent ever. The guy literally can do anything, 50, 40, 90 club, can pull up from 3, that mid-range unstoppable Dirk move that he has in his arsenal of moves. The guy is so hard to guard. And, Steph, he has been shown to be contained in the finals. So I think Steph definitely benefits from being in that great system, even though he is the system in a sense. Him and Clay, just running off screens, ball movement, and stuff like that. But I'd have to say that Steph probably will, be higher, like when it's all said and done, than KD, just because KD just has such a shitty legacy, and he brought it upon himself. Like I root for the Warriors, and I was honestly fucking pissed when KD went to the Warriors, just because I knew it was just going to be so unfair for the rest of the league. So yeah, I think that Curry's gonna end up being better all time.
Oh, wait, did everybody get their opinion on that?
Yeah, I think we're good with that one.
Okay. What did you want to pick the next topic, Visa?
Yeah, I'll go into it. So, do you guys think that Kawhi Leonard can put himself into the GOAT conversation, or at least like Mount Rushmore, top 4, top 5 all time, if he wins a title with the Clippers this year? And assuming he would also be the Finals MVP as a result of that as well. That would be 3 championships, 3 different teams, Finals MVP with 3 teams. I mean, that's a strong case right there.
Okay, I'll go first on this one, and I would say that like he, I don't think I can put him there. I honestly don't think I can, just because of the small sample size that we have from Kawhi Leonard. Like it took him many years to develop. Like I think that 2016 was his first year as an All-Star. It wasn't even the year that he won a championship. It was like 2 years later. And I believe that's whenever he won Defensive Player of the Year as well. I could be wrong, but he doesn't even have a single MVP, right? Like he doesn't have a single league MVP, Kawhi Leonard.
Nope.
Yeah, no MVPs.
So which one of those guys in your top 5 that you would have hasn't had at least 2 MVPs? Like, I mean, unless you have Kobe, maybe Kobe, like, but a lot of people wouldn't have Kobe in their top 5. And yeah, I mean, not even having one MVP, that's just not really a good look. Although he does have a lot of other accolades, he arguably wasn't even the best player on his team in 2014 whenever he won a championship. So, like, he didn't even win as, like, the guy. Sure, he won Finals MVP, but it's just because he guarded LeBron James. I mean, look at Andre Iguodala. Literally the next year, he won a Finals MVP just because he guarded LeBron James. It's not because, like, he was literally the best player. Another thing too is Kawhi Leonard has played in like very, very good systems on very good teams consistently throughout his entire career. He hasn't had one single trash team with a trash coach or, just a bad system. Every one of these teams have been like locked and loaded and ready for the finals every year. Like they're ready to go to the playoffs and ready to go to the finals, ready to win 50 plus wins. Has Kawhi Leonard never not won 50 wins in a season? Like, I don't know if that's happened, just because his team is just simply overwhelmingly talented. So, I mean, at least some of those guys, LeBron and Jordan and maybe a couple of the dudes, they can say that they've carried trash tier teams to 60 plus, 50 plus wins multiple times throughout their career just because they were simply that talented. Kawhi Leonard, he just doesn't really have that. And, again, sure, he's going to have the championships, but I don't think that championships really, mean like they do hold a lot of weight, but they don't mean everything. So I don't think I could put him top 5. I don't even know if I could put him top like 10 potentially, just off of that. But I do think that he is very, very close. I would have to kind of sit back and really analyze it and everything, because I haven't really given it much thought, because I just saw this topic today, maybe like 20 minutes before we actually started the podcast. So I didn't really get to think about it. But Yeah, I personally, no way. Like, I do not put him anywhere close to top 5 in my opinion. But yeah, you guys
Yeah,
can go.
I'll go next. I agree for sure. I mean, I don't think he's top 10. I think you can easily make the argument he's top 20 right now. Like Frenzy said, kind of with the Spurs, he was
If he
like,
wins the championship, is that what
yeah,
you're saying?
if he wins a championship, I think he could you can make the argument he's top 20 right now. If he wins this year. I don't think top 10 is like, or even like top 5 is even like a discussion, just because like you said, he was like born pretty much as an NBA player into that system or whatever, into that Spurs system, which was just a stat. Like I think people are forgetting that like that team had 67 wins the same year that um the Warriors had 73 wins. Like that team was loaded. I mean, yeah, Kawhi was the main guy on that team as well, so he's got to get credit for that. But I mean, also, I mean, people are like like to underestimate that Raptors team. Like that Raptors team, Nick Nurse has proved himself as like a great coach. I mean, and that team had two other All Stars plus like Mark Gasol in Serge Ibaka, Fred VanVleet, like a ton of great role players. Two other All Stars, like I said. You have Siakam, who's just got paid last offseason. You have Kyle Lowry, who's like perennial All Star in that conference. So, I mean, he's just been put on like into great situations. His whole career, which we can't really fault him for, but like I think that he needs like two more rings probably to be top 10. Just because I mean that first ring. I mean, yeah, he guarded LeBron, and it seems like whoever guards LeBron and they win, they win the MVP
Yeah.
apparently. But like, um, but I mean, he definitely has a very very strong case. I mean, he has one ring now, where he's been the man. So if he comes back this year and I mean wins as the man again, I think you have a very strong case just because you have that supplemental Finals MVP in that other ring. But I mean, you had Tim Duncan, Tony Parker. I mean, like just stacked ass team, like we said, even though they were all a little older. But I think I think you can make the argument he's even top 20, like, you know, top 25 right now. But I think another ring with him as the man would put him like top 15
I
for
think
sure.
that if he wins another Finals MVP and ring this year, the fact that he brought Toronto their first ring, even though KD was out, his first year being there, and he got traded there. It's not like he picked that location either. He won a ring, not as the main guy, but he was the Finals MVP, and the guy also is 2 defensive players of the year. Like that's also another huge accomplishment. Like I don't think you guys realize like how short the list of guys that have 3 Finals MVPs are. Like it's a very exclusive club of players who are on
Yeah,
that
but
list.
you also have to get pretty fortunate and blessed with having good teams, right? To be able to make it to the finals as well. It's not like that's entirely his doing. Like, do you think that first ring was entirely his doing, or that he even had like a massive impact on his team as how they end up making it to the finals, let alone like winning the finals? I don't know. I think that they had a lot of other guys on their team that were putting in just as much effort and doing just as much work as he was. Because what did he win the Finals MVP on? 14 points per game or something?
18 points per game.
18.
Yeah, I mean, I think the argument could be made, and I think people will make the argument because obviously the Clippers will have a high chance of potentially winning the finals this year. But to kind of Frenzy's point, I just don't think the sample size is really big enough just yet with Kawhi. He's definitely benefited from that Spurs dynasty, and then he did get traded to the Raptors. He didn't want to go there. But granted, I mean, look at Toronto now, right? They're still a very strong team now. Granted, definitely in the East, but they have a potential maybe to, make the finals. I know some people might think that. So it's. I think people will make the argument. I just personally don't agree with it yet. But it is, to what IraqemUp said, a very exclusive club in terms of 3 Finals MVPs, and then on top of that with 3 different teams. I mean, that's at the surface level, that's a really good argument, honestly.
Yeah, and I don't think that he's going to be immediately inserted into the top 10 all time. Like if he wins it this year, even though like it's going to be super impressive. Like gets traded to the Raptors, wins title first year, even though they were a good team. But like, dude, like his playoff run to get there, like to the finals,
Yeah, it
like
was a good run.
very impressive. Like
Yeah.
Dude literally completely locked down Giannis, came back from 2-0, Game 7 buzzer beater. No one has ever done that in NBA history. Had a
Traveled.
great game against a great series against the Magic. Like the dude had an insane playoff run to get there, and then he wins it this year and brings the Clippers their first championship ever. Like the dude literally brings two different teams as the main guy their first championship ever in history. Like the first year of being there. Like that is super impressive. Like that, I mean, and he'd have to get past LeBron most likely, and then he would clown Giannis again most likely in the finals. Like he's gonna have to face some great teams to do it this year. So I'm playing devil's advocate with you guys because you guys mainly agree, but I also agree with you at the same time that I don't think he's immediately inserted into the top 10 just because he has gotten some lucky breaks along the way. But I do think if he wins it this year, he's also in the prime of his career. Like the guy's like 29 or 30 years old. So he still has a lot of time left. So the likelihood of him winning another championship is pretty good in his favor. The Clippers aren't going anywhere. So he could probably end up finishing with 4 rings. Dude can get 4 Finals MVPs, finals or 2 Defensive Player of the Years. That is a stacked resume. Like, sure, he doesn't have the regular season accolades to go along with it because he doesn't give a shit about the regular season. He's always load managing.
Yeah,
So,
that's one thing that I. Oh, go on. Sorry.
yeah. So like it is a bad look just because all those top 10 guys and especially top 5 guys, they have super stacked resumes like MVPs out the ass, scoring titles, multiple championships, multiple finals MVPs, and I was watching a segment with Nick Wright and Colin Cowherd. Like Kawhi Leonard isn't even in I think it's like the top 300 scoring all time, like something crazy, some absolutely asinine stat. Like a player, I think he said Kawhi Leonard doesn't even have more points than Jeff Teague all time. Like, dude, you don't have more points than Jeff Teague all time right now, and being inserted into top 10 potentially by some people like Colin Coward. Like, I can't entirely agree with that point, but I do think that he for sure has top 10 potential.
Yeah, So going back to what you were saying, I don't really want to make a big deal about this point, but I definitely do think that it should be highlighted that VSAT was talking earlier about how Kawhi Leonard has only played, or I'm sorry, how Kyrie Irving has only played over 70 games twice in his career. Well, I'm looking at his basketball reference sheet right now, and I see that Kawhi Leonard has done the same. He's only played 2 seasons where he's played over 70 games. And a lot of these seasons he's playing 60s and like low 60s, 50 games, and yet his teams still are magically winning close to 60 games every season somehow. So, I mean, I don't really know what to say about that, but I definitely do think that it is a weak move on Kawhi Leonard's part to like purposely load manage as frequently as he does, because it's not like he's, I remember a few years ago people were blowing it way out of proportion that, oh, LeBron James, he's load managing because he's sitting out of a back-to-back for the first time in like 2 months or something. And people were like, oh, well, if LeBron doesn't have an injury, then he needs to play or something. And now it's like, oh, Kawhi Leonard is load managing every other night, it seems like, in the NBA. I mean, shoot, he's played 50 games this year. Last year, he played 60 games, and their team won just as many games as like he played. Like, so it's like, okay. But anyways, yeah, I think that there should be a bigger deal about the guy sitting out of all these games that he's played, and yeah, about the scoring thing. Again, looking at his basketball reference, I see that Kawhi Leonard only has 4 seasons scoring over 20 points. Been in the league for like, what is that, 9 seasons? So yeah, very very limited sample size here from Kawhi Leonard, and I just do not. I'm sorry. It is a cool thing being able to take a team to a championship and stuff, but he is kind of put in very fortunate situations again. Like that Raptors team still won more games without him in the previous year before he got there. They won 59 wins, so it's not like that team was horrible or something. And it was like, oh, Kawhi Leonard came down like Jesus from the clouds or something and just blessed them with a championship. Sure, he made a really big impact on the playoff series that he played in, but still, I don't think that um, that just grants him a top 10 status, or even just automatically. And I still stand by that. I do not think that he would be top 10.
Yeah,
Not top 5.
just to add one last point, I think there's got to be a balance between like the resume in terms of the accolades and then also your individual stats, because that's definitely a big argument of like even when you get into like Jordan versus LeBron. And I believe going into the year, even LeBron had more career assists than Kawhi Leonard had career points. Kawhi, and to what Frenzy said, like he's already load managing, and how old is he? Like 30, 29?
28.
Like, and it seems like his body is always getting broken down. Like, I don't think he'll have like the crazy numbers to back everything up. But if he does win a championship, it's an argument will be made. I just don't. I personally wouldn't make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys want to move on to?
Yeah. I'd like to. I'll do the next topic, and I'd like to start with it. Can Zion live up to the hype? So I think you guys will probably all. I don't know. I think most people will kind of say yes. I was 100% wrong on Zion on so many different levels. As a Knicks fan, I really wanted the Knicks to get the number 2 pick because I really wanted Ja more than anyone. Now that argument I think could still be made, but I personally was not a big believer in Zion. I think the thing with Zion though will be interesting. Will be he's got his head screwed on right, it seems, and it seems like he's a pretty good kid. That my question more so is, will he stay healthy? Honestly, I mean, we've already seen he's only 19, but I mean, we've already seen issues. I mean, the dude is such a freak, like just an absolute like we thought LeBron was a freak in nature. This kid's even like more insane, busting out of his shoes at Duke and stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't think he'll have a long career, and obviously you don't wish that upon anyone. But I mean, just given like his body, I mean, he definitely looks a lot more trim into the bubble than he was. But I just don't know if do you guys like think he'll last the vigorous seasons, the wear and tear of the NBA, and really be able to live up to the hype? You know what I mean?
So
Yeah, like I
so I've been.
actually.
No, go ahead. No, go
Alright.
ahead.
All right, so yeah, I actually had like on my list of stuff like if he stayed healthy, but I'm gonna ask you if he actually stayed healthy like for a 15-year career, do you think that he will live up to the hype? And also, what is your like expectations in terms of hype? Like multiple time MVP, multiple time NBA champion, like top 25 player all time, top 10 player all time, like what exactly, like we might all have different hype for him. Like I think we could all agree that he's probably the most hyped player coming into the NBA since LeBron, but it all comes down to what are your own expectations for Zion? So
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean he didn't play at the start of the season, right? And then he came back. But I mean, just looking at his stats now, like he's averaging close to 24 points per game on 29 minutes. And I watched a few of those Pelicans games, and it's not even like they were really running the offense through him in any way, shape, or form. It was really through Ingram and Lonzo and stuff. And I mean, like I said, I mean, I was not a Zion believer in any way, but to what you asked, like if he can stay healthy, yeah, I don't see any reason why he won't flourish. Everyone, how you define the hype is different for everyone, like you said, but he's definitely the most hype since LeBron, and if he can stay healthy, I don't see why he can't succeed. I mean, what he's done in a short sample size, granted, has already been incredible, and just like you said earlier in the earlier topic that you wouldn't define him as a superstar. But if he can stay healthy, it does seem like he'll be the next one to basically take the torch from LeBron. Because some of these other guys are just older, and just the interest and hype there is with Zion is just to another stratosphere,
yeah,
Yeah, so I'll go next. I mean, I've been like I'm a Zion fan. It's just the thing is like I haven't. I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm not sure how his body's gonna hold up. I think he definitely needs to slim down. Like, so I think he plays like 280, right? So I mean, if he slims down to like 240 or so, I think he'll still be a freak and be able to bully people in the paint. But it's like he has to slim down and like protect his knees. Like, there's no way he can have a sustained career just with his current body composition. I think he can live up to the hype for sure. I was saying that I think that Ja might have a better career just because he's going to stay healthy. but assuming that Zion stays healthy for his entire career, I think that he'll definitely live up to the hype. I mean, he's already averaging like 25 a game, and he's literally 19 years old. So imagine when he gets his fully grown man body. I mean, he's already got a man's body like right now. So like, imagine what that guy can do when he's like 25 and he's fully like matured. I think it is just like insane to just think about that he's only 19 years old right now. So, I mean, I think if he stays healthy, then yes. But I mean, um, I think he's already lived up to the hype in a sense, but he just needs to sustain it and stay healthy, which is like the biggest thing.
Yeah, and just to add, he's 6'6", 285. That's what B-Ball Reference has him at.
Yeah, that's
Wait,
ridiculous.
do you just say that he's already lived up to the hype?
Yeah, I think
I don't know if I can agree
mean,
with that one.
I think people were expecting him to come into the league and dominate, and like look at some of the games he's already had. I mean, he had a massive duel with LeBron, who's the best player in the world. Like, I mean, went toe to toe with him. Guy's been averaging like 65% from the field or something like that as a rookie. Like, and averaging like what? Like, is he averaging 10 boards a game? I'm not even sure, but I mean, the expectations of him like coming into his rookie year, like, yeah, for sure, he's lived up to the hype. I mean,
Well,
like,
we're not talking about his rookie year. We're talking
Yeah, his
well,
career, dude.
well, his career,
the whole career.
well, like I said, I mean, he has to stay healthy. If he stays healthy, I think he can for sure. But I mean, he has to definitely slim down. But
I think he could be one of the greatest players ever. I'm a huge fan of him. I just love him. He's like the dude. He's just so much fun to watch. And one thing, if you've watched these Pelicans games, like, dude, this guy really has like no skill. Like he gets the ball in the paint,
Yeah,
does
that's
like
what I
a
was gonna
literally
argue.
does like a spin
about.
move and like
Yeah.
just like goes at the rim or dunks on you or like it's just crazy that he's averaging 24 a game
And
on
it's
like
basically
super high
Giannis.
like field goal percentage. Well, no, the thing is though is that Zion doesn't have no jump shot at all. His first game in the league, he literally
I know.
made like 4 straight threes against the Spurs. Dude had 17 points in like a 3 or 4 minute span in the fourth quarter. So, the guy's 19. He can shoot just as good, if not better, than Giannis. He does need to work on his free throws. So, the fact that he's averaging 24 a game with just so much raw talent is just insane. So, I think if he stays healthy, I see no reason as to why he can't finish as like the top 25 player of all time. Am I going to say he's going to be the next LeBron? I don't see him being as good
No,
or better. Than
I
LeBron.
don't think the hype is anywhere in the same stratosphere as LeBron James.
I mean, dude, he was really hyped up.
Oh,
but
I know.
Then
I know he
again,
is hype, but dude,
like
LeBron, like Sports
yeah,
Illustrated
LeBron,
cover at 16. Come on, dude.
yeah.
You guys all feel good about that? Anything to add?
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add that much about that now.
So
I
for
will say that
It's just such a
Broski
small sample size.
Broski was saying that Ja Morant is better as well.
I
yeah,
didn't say that.
I'm a
I
big
said-
jaw
You
guy
did,
personally,
you did
honestly.
say that.
No, I said because of injuries. Like, I thought John Morant could have a better career. That's what I was saying.
I'm pretty sure that when Zion hasn't even played yet, you were saying that Ja was better than Zion. and Zion
I
hasn't
do
even played
like
a game.
Ja. I do kind of not
Dude, Ja's a
necessarily.
dog.
Yeah, I don't necessarily say that I agree with that take, but I do think that yeah, if he does stay healthy and Zion does not, that yeah, taking Ja is 100% the better play there. Like although I do think that Zion is in a much like more fortunate place right now currently, and that they have so much young talent on that team. Them winning a championship is very probable if they all stay together within like the next couple of years. Like that team is going to be extremely dangerous if they all stay together.
Good.
So with that being said, who would you guys want to build around between Luka, Zion, or Tatum?
Oh, Broski first, Broski first.
Yes, sir.
And you
I'm
gotta keep the
taking
same energy.
Luka Doncic.
No, dude, he's changing his mind.
I'm surprised that's
He
not
always
Tatum.
says- yeah, he always says Jason Tatum. He said that he would take
No,
Jason Tatum
not
over
against
Jokic.
Luka, not against. Yeah, I would over Jokic, but Luka long term is like that guy. Second year in the league, guys almost averaging a triple double on 30 points per game. Like, I mean, I look at these players. I mean, Luka's just better than Tatum. Like, I mean, and then Zion. Like, we just had this discussion about the injuries. I mean, it's. I mean, I could take Zion, but it's like, I mean, the guy's gonna get injured like eventually. Like, I think it's just inevitable.
Okay, but barring no injuries.
Barring no injuries, I mean, I'd probably take Zion if like I guaranteed don't have like any knee injuries or anything, like, and the guy stays healthy for his entire career and develops, like I'll take Zion. But I mean, because the guy's just so dominant. But I mean, if we're talking like being realistic here, I mean, Luka just, like, guy's a complete team player. The only thing that he's not good at is defense, but he can improve his defense for sure. I mean, guy's just a floor general who can score like crazy. But
Not
I
really
mean,
much he can improve his defense. He's just very like slow and unathletic compared to other guards in the league. But I think, barring injury, Zion won, and you guys can say this is a bad take, but I would honestly, moving forward in the next 5 years, I honestly believe that Jason Tatum is going to develop into a full blown superstar, and he's going to be, a way better defender than Luka at the same time. And we all got a glimpse into what Jason Tatum could be if he's the main dude. Like, you know, February onward, when there was no Kemba Walker, we saw Jason Tatum like as the guy. That dude was having some monster games, like nonstop 30-point games, 40-point games against the Lakers, like all these amazing games. And also another thing about Jason Tatum, from what we've seen, dude like doesn't shrink in those big moments. Like, his rookie year, dude was having a baller fucking playoffs, one game away from the finals, and
game seven.
Dude showed up huge in that game 7, fucking
Dunked on LeBron.
dunking on LeBron. Like, dude, like Jason Tatum just like, has that it factor. Like, dude's clutch, dude. Like, he has a full package, and he's only developing, and he's also in I'd say probably a better system too. He's a better defender than Luka. But I mean, I'm not saying like taking Luka is a bad take. Like, he's a beast. Like, the fact he's averaging like close to 30 a game with like 10 assists, like, guy's a walking triple double. But I just don't see him you know being better than Tatum. And also, from what we've seen so far, you know, Luka has shriveled up in quite a few big moments in the regular season.
Yeah, regular
Yeah,
season.
like let's see what happens in the playoffs. So I like all three guys. Like, I like all three players, but I'm just like really big on Jason Tatum, dude. Like, I'm surprised you didn't pick Jason Tatum, because I know how much you love Jason Tatum.
See, I love Jason Tatum. It's just like the thing is we have a player like Curry that's in the top 10, right, or like top 5 right now, right? And that guy sucks at defense. I mean, like, come on, we all know he's a shit defender. So I mean, saying that he's like not going to be a good defender, I mean, like, I mean, he can improve a little bit here and there, but I mean, he doesn't need to be the best defender ever. He can.
Or
He's doing this.
are you saying that Luka is Steph Curry?
I didn't say that at all. I'm comparing him to another
Good.
bad defender who's a top
Oh,
5 player.
That's the reason why, because Steph Curry is the greatest shooter ever, and he's in one of the best systems we've ever seen.
Well, do you think Luka can be a top 5 player in the next 5 years?
Yes, I can see that, but I don't see
Okay,
the
well,
Mavs winning a championship currently with how they're built.
Okay. So anyways, let me say what I'm gonna say now.
yeah.
You guys have been going back and
Yeah,
forth for
go ahead,
5 minutes now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, like, I mean, personally, out of like those 3 guys, those are all 3 really good names, and I feel like we haven't seen what their potential is yet. We like, I mean,
We haven't,
I'm sorry, we haven't seen like their full potential yet, so
We
we don't
haven't, yep.
know how much they're going to actually flourish. And like, I think that Zion there, out of those 3 guys, has the most hidden potential out of them, and he has the most upside. Like, if I'm gonna win a championship, you need to play for upside. You can't play for, like, just being like safe and just going for a guy that's gonna be like Jason Tatum. Like, sure, like we've seen players do the same shit that Jason Tatum is doing right now. Like, we have seen that before. Same thing with Luka. We've seen players do that same style of play before as well, except maybe not as well as Luka's doing it. currently at the pace that he's going. So maybe Luka is actually, outside of LeBron, of course. But I mean, LeBron can also play good defense, and Luka, well, can't. But Zion, on the other hand, extremely athletic, and he has sort of a jump shot, not like a great one, but he sort of has a jump shot. And this is just his rookie year. And yeah, like Roski was saying, he was having duels with LeBron James. He wasn't, and as VSAT said, the offense wasn't flowing entirely through him, and yet he was still able to average like those points in like pretty big marquee games. Like these are national televised games, and I just really feel like Zion has the most potential out of those three guys. I like all three of those names. Again, I'm gonna say that, but again, I'm just gonna go for the upside out of all of them.
Well,
Go
who would
Zion.
you put? Who would you pick 2 and 3? You don't have to like rattle off, but just say who you would have as 2
Luka,
and 3.
Tatum.
Yeah,
Luka before Tatum.
with those three, you really can't go wrong, honestly. They're all under 21. They're all shown such an incredible glimpse of what they could potentially be. I think the one thing that I do like about Luka is just that he's been playing pro basketball for so long. Now, granted, it wasn't in the NBA, but he's been like going up against grown men for a while, and he does have Porzingis on his side, who I know has dealt with his fair share of injury issues as well. But I think that duo, I mean, the thing is they're in the West, obviously, but I'm pretty biased as it pertains to Luka Doncic. To what Derb said, I mean, averaging nearly a triple-double in year 2 in his league, 28, 9, and 9, I believe it was. Definitely has issues on the defensive side of the ball. But for me, I'd probably go Luka, Tatum, Zion, I think. I know. That's
No,
I
dude,
almost
mean, they're all good, man.
they're all good. And I feel like to some degree, I need to die on that hill because of the fact that I was definitely very hard on Zion going into the league. So I think you can't go wrong anyway. But I would personally definitely Luka just because I love that style of play. I think building around like Luka is I'd say even much easier than building around any one of those other guys. Honestly.
I really like how you brought up that point about Luka already having like so much experience. Like I completely forgot about that. Like dude's been playing pro basketball since he's like 16 years old. It's like the fact he's been playing against like grown ass men for this long, like, and he's only what like 20, 21 years old,
Yeah,
and he's
20
putting
years
up
old.
these numbers. Like I remember watching like Undisputed and other shows, and like statistically, like Luka's putting up better numbers than what LeBron was. Like
Yup.
what back when he was. Now the game has changed. It's easier to score and stuff like that. But the fact that he's putting up just numbers wise better than what LeBron is, like, super impressive. So I'm curious because you guys like were saying like we're just getting a taste of what Luka's going to be. Like, how much higher do you think his ceiling is? Like the fact he's already averaging like 28, 10, and how many rebounds? Like, do you see him averaging like, you know, 32, 33 a game, like consistently, like throughout his prime? Or, like how much higher can this guy go? Or is he going to stay like where he's at right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's possible. I mean, he's only 20 years old, and it's 28.7 points per game this year, 9.3 rebounds, and where are the assists? 8.7. So I think if anyone can pull the triple double like Russ did, I mean, it seems like it's going to be him, honestly. Um, obviously comparing his numbers to LeBron is definitely a little bit inflated compared to LeBron in '04 and NBA today in 2020. But yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. I don't see how he wouldn't be able to just continuously improve, because he is gonna. I think to what Derb said, or maybe it was you, IraqemUp, to get into his grown man body. You know what I mean? Like he's 20 years old. Just a couple years is gonna be a very big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, just to recap, BSAT said Luka, DerBroski said Luka, and then did IraqemUp say?
Tatum, I believe.
Said me. No, I said Zion.
Oh, okay.
And then
Oh, you said Zion.
Tatum, and then
Okay.
Tatum.
Yeah, I said Zion.
Yeah, so we're actually pretty split on that.
Okay, yeah.
Alright.
Okay. Yeah. What do you guys do next? Next 5 years? Oh wait, never mind. We already did that.
Start one, bench one, cut one.
Okay.
All right, so I'll start this one off. So you have the choice between starting, benching, and cutting between these three players. Dame Dalla, Russell Westbrook, and DerBroski's favorite, Nikola Joker Jokic. Since
Yeah.
I would like Broski to start on this one.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
Well, I'm starting. I'm starting
yeah.
Damian Lillard.
And who are you? Who are you
Go for it,
benching?
go for
I'm
it. Yes.
I'm cutting Russell Westbrook. He's been cut. And let me explain why though. So, I mean, I'm if I'm starting a franchise, I'm taking Damian Lillard over Jokic. I'm sorry, we've had this discussion in the private as well, but I mean, Lillard just the more experienced player in the playoffs. Guy's extremely clutch. I mean, he has 2 series game winners in the postseason. I don't think anybody even has 2 other than him in NBA history. So that's 2 massive, accomplishments right there. I mean, guy. I mean, I don't know. Guys, multiple time All Star, multiple time All NBA player. Would just take him to start a team. Um, Jokic, I think he's on his way. I mean, like we said before, he's 24 years old. He still has a lot of upside left. I think if he loses a little weight, and then also sorry, it's just sorry, but being serious. I think if he loses a little weight, improves his defense a little bit, and then I mean, just I think he still has a lot of offensive upside as well. With the evolving NBA and just his ability to shoot threes is very valuable in today's NBA. Westbrook, I mean, he's just not a leader. He's a ball hog who plays for stats, and I mean, we've all seen this. He just hasn't had success without
Dude,
KD. So
I wouldn't say Russ isn't a leader. I think Russ is a leader.
well,
I don't like
I
Russ.
mean,
but
I mean a leader that can't like if I'm starting a franchise, I'm not starting him to be the leader of my team though, because he's not like he can't lead your team to a championship. I mean, sorry. Like I mean,
Yeah.
out of everybody there, I mean, like the person who's got the closest is Lillard, and he has the experience and is more of a veteran and arguably a top 10 player. So
Yeah. So I want to go next, and I'm gonna agree with Broski as far as cutting. I'm gonna cut Russell Westbrook off my team because I don't think he plays winning basketball, and I'm gonna start Jokic because I think that the guy is the complete opposite of Russell Westbrook. The guy is a team basketball player. I mean, we have never like I don't think that I have personally seen a player like Jokic ever, like in basketball. The guy is a center that is able to get LeBron James stats, like on any given night, and he's able to elevate his game in the playoffs as well. The guy is able to get 8 assists a game, and I think last year in the playoffs he was getting close to 10 assists a game, along with like 13 rebounds as well, and like 25 points per game. And I mean, how many centers can you recall that are able to put up those types of numbers, like where he's getting that many assists? Like the dude's nearly averaging a triple double. And like another thing too is it's not like he has a cast of superstars around him that are able to put up these types of crazy baskets, and he has like a bunch of synergy with another guy that he can just toss it out to, like a Steph Curry or something like that. Instead, he has Jamal Murray on his team, like a washed-up Paul Millsap or something. It's not like the guy has the greatest team. He does have a good team, but not like the greatest team. And another thing too is going back to why I'm benching Damian Lillard. You guys want to sit here and talk about like how IraqemUp earlier said that Anthony Davis hasn't had any playoff success or something, but Damian Lillard and DerBroski wants to bring up how he's like really clutch in the playoffs. Well, actually, hold on a second. Elimination game, game 4 in the 2018 playoffs, Anthony Davis slammed 47 points on Damian Lillard, and Damian Lillard had 43% field goal percentage on 19 points. CJ McCollum is the more clutch player on that team, arguably, because he's got 38 points in that game on 70%. Like in this game right here against Jokic last year against the Denver Nuggets, Damian Lillard, 13 points on 17% shooting. He went 3 for 17. What the hell is that? CJ McCollum needed to bail him out with 37 points and 58%. And again, like, I'm sorry. I get it. The guy hit 2 really good game winner buzzer beaters in the playoffs and stuff. That's really cool and all. But I mean, at the end of the day, Jokic, he's just shown way more potential than Damian Lillard. And Damian Lillard has been in Portland for how many years? And what type of playoff success has this guy had? What has he really had outside of getting to like a Western Conference Finals last year?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
It wasn't even like his responsibility either. Like he wasn't even the guy that got him there. It was C.J. McCollum in Game 7. Yeah, go on, Visa.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow up to what you said and kind of interpret it in a different way. Gonna cut Russ. Obviously Russ is a remarkable player, unbelievable. But we all agreed kind of earlier that his style of play doesn't really lead to winning basketball. But I'm also gonna bench Dame. As good as Dame is, he is a little bit older than Joker. But I think the difference too, more so than anything, is outside of that 2015 finals where the Warriors beat the Cavs, which I don't want to say there should be like an asterisk to that, but when has a team really won a championship that they built off a point guard in recent memory? You know what I mean? So I think for that reason alone, plus you look at where minus the 2015 team though, I'm saying you can argue that obviously KD was the better player in all those other years. But they lost in 2016 with Steph as the leader. Won in 2015, but I'm just gonna make the argument with that to kind of throw that one out with no Kyrie, no K Love. Obviously, that's an argument you can make, but I think for me personally, I would rather take Joker. Like I said, I'm gonna take it in a different context in that way, but I would rather have my team around him. Piggybacking off what Frenzy said, if that team, obviously not being the best team, but still having his team literally third in the West, in the Western Conference. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable, And I think come playoffs, he's gonna be better. And whereas the Blazers, sitting at 29-37 before the season was put to a halt because of COVID. So I'm gonna start Joker, bench Dame, and cut Russ.
That's also not his fault though. His entire team was in the hospital like the entire season. Zach Collins was out, Nurkic was out, McCollum was out, I think, for a few games. Rodney Hood tore his ACL. They had to bring in Melo because they needed to. He's been playing good basketball for him, but I think IraqemUp would back me up on this. Like, guy's entire team has been in the hospital like all year. So you can't really blame the record on him. Dude's been carrying that team. I think there's a streak, I think, where he had like 55 and then like it was another 50-point game in back-to-back games. I don't remember. But like that guy's just been carry mode the entire season. It's like his whole team has just been in the hospital. So I think it's unfair to bring up the record and say that it's like his fault or something.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment to what you said for sure. But in terms of at least kind of like the way I told you how I viewed it, I definitely think he'd be better off with Jokic opposed to Dame personally.
Yeah, even though I will agree with Broski, like Dame has had, unfortunate luck this year in terms of his teammates, just going down left and right. But I'm gonna agree with you and Frenzy VSAT, like in terms of starting Joker, benching Lillard, and then cutting Russ. Um, I think we all know that Joker is an insanely good passer, but here's just a cool statistic for you guys I found. So, in the last 50 years, 4 times a center has had 15 assists in one game, and Nikola Jokic did that all 4 times.
Yeah.
Like the guy is such a monster. Like he is such a good passer of the basketball. Like there's no big man that comes even close. Like I've even seen people like saying he is like undeniably the best passing big man ever. So the fact that this guy, even though small sample size, has elevated his game in the playoffs, having, great performances in game sevens and in elimination games and such, and the fact that he doesn't have other superstar talent surrounding him, good role players, but no other superstars. 2 seed in the West last year, 3 seed in the West this year. And he makes his teammates better. Like I love Lillard. He's insanely talented and he is an amazing scorer, but I don't look at Damian Lillard as making his teammates better. Like I don't know the stats offhand, but I'm pretty sure that Joker is averaging more assists than Lillard. And the fact that a point guard is having less assists per game than a center, that's pretty embarrassing, not gonna lie.
Yeah,
So, Joker makes his teammates better. He's a good scorer. And there's no other big man that really plays like how he does. And on top of that, he doesn't really have any superstar talent around him. And also to go back to what Frenzy was saying, I do think Lillard is clutch, but I think people completely overhype the clutchness with Lillard. Like we all saw that meltdown he had against the Pelicans. Dude literally got swept in the first round when he was
they
a
were the
3
favorites.
seed.
They were
Yeah,
the
they were the 3
favorites.
seed, got swept, averaging 17 points per game on 40% field goal percentage. He was getting clowned by Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday averaged like 27 a game on 50% field goal percentage. Like, how the fuck are you getting destroyed by Drew Holiday? And then we've seen year in, year out, he gets destroyed by Curry, just outplayed almost every single year. And, I'm not saying Lillard needs to go to the finals, but, Lillard has had some moments. And also game 7 last year versus the Nuggets. Lillard, I'm pretty sure, had like 13 points on horrible field goal percentage,
Yeah, it
and
was
McCollum completely took
for the
over
map.
that game. So if it wasn't for McCollum saving that game, we'd have the Nuggets and the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. So, Lillard has had some super clutch moments. Those 2 buzzer beaters, against against the Thunder last year in Game 5, and then against the Rockets in 2014. Like those are some great playoff moments. But just because he has 2 walk-off series buzzer beaters doesn't, classify him as this super clutch player. Like guys had some really bad meltdowns along the way.
Yeah, and another thing is going back. I really feel like I said it, and then you kind of uh, you know talked about it a little bit as well. But dude, like we just haven't really seen a big man with that type of talent to be able to pass the ball the way that he is and to distribute it and help out his teammates the way that he does. I mean, right now they are the 3 seed in the West, but a lot of people kind of forget about this. They've been the 2nd seed the entire season. They literally just lost the 3 seed towards the very end, and like that's the Clippers. Those guys are the favorites to win the finals this year, and they just barely like lost a 2 seed to them. I mean, they're doing damage, and they did damage last year as well. Like they're there to stay, and if they get another guy on that team, like I don't even want to know how dangerous that Nuggets roster is going to look if they get another even Klay Thompson level player. That team will be very, very dangerous, especially a guy that can shoot from the outside. Like maybe even adding another guy that's kind of aging, a little old, and can knock down the 3 like JJ Redick or something. I mean, just adding another piece of that puzzle. I mean, shoot, they can be a consistent Western Conference Finals team almost every year. Like they are that good, and I really have a lot of stock. And I have a lot of invest in uh, Jokic. Like I think he is going to be uh, potentially even top 5. Like I have him in my top 10 right now, but I think that he has the potential to maybe reach the top 5 in a couple years because he's growing exponentially as a player, and he's able to elevate his game in the playoffs. You can't really say that for a lot of people. I don't know if you can say that about Lillard either. Does Lillard actually elevate his game in the playoffs? Because I don't know. I would have to look at those stats personally to be able to tell you, because I feel like he doesn't. Whenever I watch his games, I feel like he's always been around that 25 points per game type player. And if anything, I think that he gets smaller as he gets deeper into the playoffs, because like you said earlier against the Pelicans, and like I said as well, the guy shriveled up as the favorites in the first round too. How does that happen? How do you do that if you're supposed to be this stud superstar that's one of the best guards in the league? Curry's never done that, has he? Has Curry ever shriveled up in the first round of the playoffs? Has he ever shriveled up in an entire series before, where the guy's just been completely non-existent? I mean, sure, we want to talk about that 2016 finals, but was that really that much of a disappearing act to the point where he was scoring 17 points per game? I don't think so.
and getting clowned by Drew Holiday of all
Yeah.
people. Drew
Yeah,
Holiday was
exactly.
looking like a superstar versus him in
Yeah.
that first round. Like honestly, like a lot of people just like like freaking went Men in Black mode, like put the freaking thing in front of their face and like wipe their memory on that series. Like this dude in the chat right here, Heshloy, he said he completely forgot that the Pelicans got swept that year, or sorry, the Pelicans swept the Blazers that year.
Yeah.
So like it's like people just completely forgot about that. They just like think Dame in the playoffs to walk off, buzzer beaters, like, and they don't, remember the chokes.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I think this is kind of irrelevant, but I just wanted to say this. Out of all four of us in here, I had us all make playoff brackets, and I was the only guy that picked the Pelicans to win that series. So, boom, there it is. You guys all
That's
picked
fair.
Blazers.
Wait,
But
wasn't
yeah,
that the same year that VSAT had the Heat going
Bro,
to
I
the
don't
Super Bowl?
remember this. I need to see this bracket. I don't remember this. I swear to God.
this is 2018. Yep. Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals, beating out the Philadelphia.
I feel like I gave a solid point on that, but I don't remember. I wish I could remember because I genuinely don't remember.
Okay, all right. So let's move on to probably our last question here for the day. Like this will be our final question for the podcast. And that is, who's gonna win MVP this season? Who do you guys think is gonna take it? I don't know who wants to start.
I
even.
think I'll take it first. I think Giannis is going to win just because that's kind of the consensus. I think LeBron was making a strong charge at the end of the year. I mean, we both saw how he pretty well dominated both the Clippers, and I'm not going to say dominated Kawhi because he really didn't in that game. It was pretty equal, but he dominated Giannis in that game, and he was making a strong charge towards the end of the season. But Giannis has had an insane season. I think LeBron would have won it if they had like the entire regular season played out, just because of how strong of a push he was making. But I mean, I think Giannis is going to take it just because of what he was able to do earlier on the season. I think people are going to remember that more than LeBron, what he was doing towards the middle of the year.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with that only because I think Giannis deserves it truly, and I think had they played out the rest of the season, I think Giannis would have won it. But I think with this break, it's actually gonna benefit LeBron more. I think people will kind of not remember as much of how dominant Giannis was, and then we'll kind of look at. I mean, people kind of forget, but the Lakers weren't really top of a lot of people's lists going into the year. I mean, it's kind of easy to say now that, they've been first and kind of held that for the entire season. But that wasn't really going the case going into the year. And I think what will benefit LeBron is just even, this whole political thing. I think that benefits LeBron due to the fact of how outspoken he is, whether or not you agree with him or disagree with him. And then, of course, just the year 17 in and of itself is remarkable what he's doing. So I think they'll kind of just grant it to LeBron, even though I think Giannis deserves it more personally.
Well, the way you're talking, do you know that like these next 8 games have no impact on the MVP voting?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah, so I think that, and it is kind of unfortunate, I guess, but yeah, I think that Giannis will end up getting MVP. Although I would have liked to have seen LeBron get MVP, but if like the regular season had been played out all the way until playoffs like normal, I think LeBron would have gotten it just because that Lakers team was firing on all cylinders. They did take down their two what were going to be the other teams that they were going to meet up in the finals. Like there was either going to be Clippers, Lakers, and Bucks. Those were like the three teams that everybody was talking about, and they took down both of their competition. And LeBron led the way in both of those games. On top of that, LeBron has had a really good year, and that Lakers team is number one in the West, and this West is pretty damn loaded. Sure, like the Warriors are kind of banged up this year, but nonetheless, like they're number one in the West. And on top of that, Giannis had actually gotten injured. Like a lot of people forget about that, but Giannis had just taken an injury. And what if he was out for the rest of the season until the playoffs? What if he was out for a couple games and all of a sudden the Bucks lost the 1 seed and the Lakers slipped into the 1 seed overall for the year? What if that happened? Maybe LeBron ends up winning MVP. But now I think that Giannis, his stats, everything that he has put up this year, I think they're just too strong for LeBron to overcome. But maybe the narrative will, end up taking over Giannis, because MVP is a big factor of it is narrative, and maybe people will just see, oh, it's year 18 or whatever it is for LeBron. Is it year 18 or 17 or
17. I think, yeah.
17.
And I think to piggybacking off that too, it's like LeBron, I feel like, has definitely been robbed of some finals since, he hasn't won one. I mean, you could argue, obviously, 2011. Obviously, he won the two after that, but the D Rose one and so on and so forth. Like, LeBron should definitely at least have, I would say, at least another MVP to his belt. I think based off that premise alone, they might. I don't know. We'll see. I think Giannis deserves it, but I could see LeBron winning it.
I think that Giannis is going to win it. And, I look at Giannis's stats. It's like 30 points per game, 13 and a half rebounds per game. And a lot of people don't consider this, but Giannis is only playing 30 minutes per game. So sort of like how when Steph was, playing his 2016 season on limited minutes and they were just destroying teams, and he would sit a lot of the time in the fourth quarter. The Bucks were destroying teams. And also at the same point, a lot of people don't remember this, but at one point in the season they were 52-8. So they were more than likely going to win 68 to 70 games. I'm not saying 70, but I'd say they were probably going to win 68 games. And the fact that if you win 68 games and that person doesn't win MVP, especially since the fact that Giannis doesn't have another superstar on his team like LeBron, that is very impressive. Even though he's in the Eastern Conference, not in the West, just winning 68 games alone is very impressive. And I do think LeBron would have benefited when Giannis went down with that injury, because the last 5 games of the season they are 1-4 and they're on a 3-game losing streak right before the break. So I can see LeBron definitely gaining on Giannis, but up until mid February, late February, Giannis was way ahead of everybody else. So for LeBron just to people are saying, oh, LeBron wins MVP just because of that last month and a half push when Giannis was way ahead of everybody else all season long, and the fact that they were on a 68 to 70 win pace that season until he went down with injury, and considering the fact that he didn't have another superstar teammate, I just feel Giannis, gets the MVP. I look at MVP in terms of 3 different check marks that you have to get. A lot of wins, the narrative, and stats. And you could debate it who has better stats. I personally think Giannis has better stats, has higher points, has more rebounds, less assists, but on way less time. I think LeBron's playing 8 minutes per game more than Giannis. Um, LeBron definitely has the narrative just because it is year 17. The fact that he's still the best player in the league, also leading the league in assists, is his first year as quote unquote point guard, even though, we all know LeBron pretty much is the point, just doesn't have that position on the depth chart. So I'd say LeBron definitely has the narrative, but then again, Giannis, they were on 68 to 70 win pace. So Giannis would add the wins check mark. But at the same time, I don't know exactly what the Lakers win pace was, but they more than likely were going to get 60 wins, probably around 60 to 63 wins, which, is really impressive in the Western Conference. So I think that Giannis would have won it, but yeah, I don't think that LeBron would have won it, even if the season kept going on, unless the Lakers somehow won almost every game and Giannis just had a meltdown or he was injured for a good chunk of the rest of the season.
Yeah, that's a good point. So you guys all said Giannis, right? Just for the final.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said LeBron if the season had
continued.
going
Yeah.
normal,
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah.
All right, so I think that's good. We'll save because we had a lot of LeBron in there. We actually didn't even get to. We'll save that for the next one though, at least.
We have tons of other topics.
Yeah.
For next few episodes.
Well, that's beautiful, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy episode 1. If you guys want, please go check out the other guys. We'll have their links in the chat as well as below. myself, Vsat, DerBroski, Frenzy, and IraqemUp. We appreciate everyone that chit-chatted with us today and enjoyed the podcast, and we'll see you guys. I guess our plan will be what, next week?
Yeah, we'll probably do one next week, and then we'll ramp it up during the playoffs and the finals, especially. That'll be juicy, I think, is we're doing our podcast during the finals. But
Yeah, we definitely plan to continue this, and we have a lot of plans of potentially even doing episodes after games and kind of reacting to what we just saw. So you guys can look forward to that. So, but yeah, we appreciate it, guys. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed.